Good morning. So, every movement begins with a single voice, not the loudest, not the most popular, but the one bold enough to speak when silence feels easier. Maybe that voice is yours. Welcome to today's podcast, Becoming a Voice for Change. I'm Dr. Wilhelmina, and if you've ever felt that tug inside, that quiet nudge telling you something needs to change, this episode is for you. Let's talk about recognizing your call. Change doesn't start with a microphone, a title, or a spotlight. So I wanted to expand on last week's podcast. So that's why we're doing this. It starts in the moments when you realize you can't unsee what you've seen. When something in your heart says, I have to do something. I can tell you when I traveled to Ghana, that was something that happened to me. It was tugging at me. I was like, oh, I got to do something. How can I help somebody? But it's difficult to know who to deal with and who to communicate with. But I saw a lot of fun, beautiful stuff and a lot of history. It was just wonderful to see. But at the same time, I saw pain, I saw hunger, and I just felt like I wanted to do something. Anyway, let's move on. Maybe you're the person who sees youth losing hope, or maybe you've watched small businesses struggle, families get left out, or neighbors feel invisible. Being a voice for change isn't about knowing all the answers, it's about caring enough to ask the hard questions. This first step is acknowledging that your perspective matters. You do really. Your perspective matters. We all come from different upbringings and different environments. And what's salient to you might not be salient to someone else, but hearing and understanding your point of view might help them in understanding others. The first step is acknowledging that, oh, I told you that already, sorry. You don't have to wait for permission to care. You don't have to be famous to make an impact. You just have to start speaking truth where silence used to live. So, speaking your truth, speaking what you know, and then asking the hard questions if you don't. The courage to speak. I remember hearing someone say, leadership begins when comfort ends. And if you think about any time you had to stand up in front of everybody and do a speech or a brief, and the feeling, your heart's beating fast, you're sweaty, and you're just nervous, and heart is just going. Well, that's the same as being in a room full of people and having a different opinion, or thinking maybe your opinion might be different, but you're emphatic about it. And that heart just starts beating. Yes. And that couldn't be more true, that leadership begins when comfort ends. You're not comfortable, but you're speaking up. Using your voice often means standing out and sometimes standing alone. But here's the secret: you don't find courage, you build it. So remember the first time you spoke up, if you have, and it was difficult. But as you continued giving people your perspective, people started coming to you, didn't they? Start wanting to hear your perspective. You build it every time you share an idea in a meeting, every time you volunteer for something new, every time you stand up for someone who isn't in the room. And that's the idea, standing up for people who are not in the room. Community leadership doesn't mean you have to lead everyone. Just start by leading the space right where you're at, right in front of you. So, finding your platform. We're talking about all this stuff, but what is your platform? In today's world, your voice can travel farther than ever. Think about it. Maybe your platform is social media. Maybe it's in your church, a neighborhood group, or even a youth mentorship program. Think about our future, the youth. That's our future. So that I think that perspective is important, that area to mentor youth. Wherever people are listening, that's your stage. Don't worry about having the perfect plan. Just share your heart. Talk about what you're seeing, what you're learning, and what you believe can be better. Consistency builds credibility. So if you consistently are speaking your heart or speaking your truth, before long, people will look to you for direction. Remember, being a community leader isn't about being in charge, it's about being in service. The goal is not control, it's connection. And think about it, in so many areas, connection is important because when people are connected to you, they hear you. Okay, practical ways to begin. This is the most important part of this whole podcast. Here are 3 ways you can get started being a voice for change right now. 1, show up where conversations are happening. That might be your local meetings, it could be town halls, events. Listen first, though. When you speak, offer solutions, not complaints. So I can remember when I was active duty, one of the things that a lot of leaders talked about was don't just come to me with complaints, offer solutions. How can we fix this? Or what your ideas are. And number 2, use what you have, whether it's your podcast or social post or small group. There's a lot of social media groups you could already be in that you could be stating your truth. Your message doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to be authentic. It needs to be you. And I can remember joining that We Don't Care group. It's really a group about women with menopause, perimenopause, and they don't care. Things they don't care about doing or care about because they're hot. They're hot flashing. They're hot and cold. They're having issues with their menopause or whatever. So, like one of mine is, I don't care about my makeup, my eyebrows. On one of those days, I don't need anything on my eyebrows or on my face. I'm just going out like, I'm going to put my eyebrows on at least. But I don't care on those days. And you know what? It doesn't just go away. It keeps coming back. Like I thought I was done with it, but no, I'm not done. So anyway, I just don't care. I might just put on something I would normally not wear. I just don't care. I want to be cool. So yeah, that's that. I love that group. It's so funny, the posts that are going there. So let's talk about the third strategy. So find others who care. I know that doesn't go with my I don't care, but find others who care. You're not alone in wanting better. Partner with other passionate people. Together, you can amplify the message and multiply the impact. The power of one voice grows when it echoes in others. Okay, we're going to now go into our reflection and affirmation. So let me ask you, what's the one thing in your community that breaks your heart? And what could change if you spoke up about it? You don't have to be ready. You just have to be willing. Your voice is the seed. And when you plant the truth, courage, compassion, something beautiful begins to grow. So here's the affirmation. That was your reflection. My voice matters. My actions inspire others. I am the change I want to see. Now that sounds kind of familiar. or perhaps something very familiar to that. Okay, so if you enjoyed this podcast and it touched your heart, share with others. Share with someone who's ready to use their voice too. Remember, change doesn't wait for permission, it starts when you do. Thank you for listening. Take care.